Lock us in, load us in, pop in that 8-track, spin the tape. Here we go. Hey now everyone, welcome back to a brand new and specially new episode of the Star Wars Time Show. It's Matt, it's Nick, it's my pain in the ass feline, Pete, hanging out for a special topic Star Wars Time Show. It's been a long time since we've had one of these. We were using this time slot to do our Resistance recap when Star Wars Resistance was going strong, but that show's in hiatus until this fall. Did get a preview of the first episode. We kind of know what's going on, but we don't have Resistance stuff to talk about. So what Nick and I are going to start doing here, when time permits, that is, we're always going to do our Friday show. That's the main stuff. But these special topic casts will include a range of topics that are hopefully special. So today, we're going to lead with some theory stuff, some speculation on, guess what? Can you guess? Yeah, that's right. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So that's the type of stuff we're going to talk about. In particular, tonight we're going to analyze what the hell does the title mean? What could it mean? And we have 4 theories on what it can mean. This is something I kind of put the video for him last week. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you checked it out, you're awesome. We love you. But now we're going to get some of Nick's take and some of his feedback. And you never know. Maybe there'll be some push and pull, some agreement, some fights, some spitting, some clawing, scratching. You just don't know how it's going to go. But I also want to put this out there to the listeners, the community, especially you Star Wars artists and toy photographers. This special topic cast, which we do on Tuesdays, we also want to start using to reach out to you guys and girls, the community. So we're thinking about doing interview series with Star Wars artists, toy photographers, just kind of talking about some of the shots we appreciate from your portfolio, as well as some of your insights into how you go about your craft. So if that's something that sounds like it's right up your alley, you want to do some podcasting, talk about your art form, maybe talk some Star Wars. You never know. It is Star Wars time after all. There's always time for Star Wars time, so we don't just have to talk about you. But we want to hear from you, so reach out. DM us on, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. It seems Instagram is kind of where we're at, so use that. You can use the website. We have contact forms. It's a big boy site. We're not assholes like that. So if you want to get involved, you want to start getting involved with special topics, be it interviewing or maybe just come on as a guest to riff on a special topic, and we'll make fun of you. Let us know. Right, Nick? We're here for you guys. We're here for the community of Star Wars guys and girls, those that like to just kind of rant, speculate, and create in Star Wars.
This isn't going to be like a formal interview or anything like that. We just want to have you on, have a brief conversation about your art, get some ideas of, how you do the things you do, what inspires you, stuff like that. But it will be a very casual conversation. And like Matt said, we are Star Wars fans, so we definitely want to hear your feedback on the recent movies from Disney, your favorite parts of the Star Wars galaxy, whether it be old EU video games, movies, TV shows, anything. Like, this is an opportunity for you to come on, get people to, hear your voice, put your story out there, and then also just bullshit with some other Star Wars fans. So,
yeah, totally. Yeah. I just, in my head, like Nick said, it's going to be very informal, but I'm kind of thinking, especially for the artists, Nick, at least, if we're going to do one of those, an interview would be kind of the old school inside the actor's studio where we have questions that we'll ask everyone, so there's going to be some sort of a format, but they're going to be fun questions. It's not going to be serious. So I'm kind of thinking this is just spitballing live here. Like I said, we will choose 3 to 5 of the artist shots that we appreciate, and maybe just kind of go through them with the artists, and then maybe step through some of these questions: gear used, motivations, inspirations, favorite Star Wars movie, least favorite, stuff like that. It's going to be a good time. So hit us up if that's something you want to get into. I've approached a few of you kind of just casually, but now we're ready to start rolling this out there because we're not really going to have anything in terms of a recurring cast we need to do until Resistance comes back this fall. So Get on it, people. Hit us up. We know some of you are listening. You're commenting. You know, we got some good feedback today from Nose Rain Richie. He listened probably at least just to the toy segment and loved it. Said we embarrassed him with all the praise. But, hey, man, you deserve it in the end. So hopefully you're still listening. If you want to come on, you like talking, you never know, hit us up. But, Nick, let's go ahead and get into why we are here, why we take ourselves away from our friends and family and dedicate ourselves to that galaxy from so far, far away. And that is to break down, what the hell does the Rise of Skywalker mean? I mean, I don't know about you, Nick, but when and we can always go to my reaction video just to confirm, but that probably got the biggest rise out of me, pun intended, was seeing the damn title. I mean, it went right from the Palpatine cackle into, all right, there's Star Wars, and then it just morphed out of the middle, the Rise of Skywalker. So I was like, ah!
It's beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful moment, even for me who was watching from the hotel room, you know, watching the live panel on YouTube. It's still like, oh my, like there was a physical, you know, vocal reaction from me. Like I almost fell back in my chair. I was like, oh my God, like Rise of Skywalker. It's a very intriguing title. JJ knows that it's intriguing. He even said that, and we covered it in our last Friday cast. He says, you know, I know that this title it raises a lot of questions. What does it mean? But then he also said, you know, when you see the movie, you'll understand it. Well, the movie's still, you know, 8 months away.
Thanks, JJ.
You know, so we have a lot of time to think about this. And as Star Wars fans, as ravenous Star Wars fans, and as Star Wars fans who run a podcast, this is the kind of shit that we dig into, you know? We come to you guys. We give you our opinions. We want to hear your opinions as well. So, Matt, you wrote up the 4 theories that we're going to be talking about. So kick it off. Why don't you lead us into this and see where we're going with this Rise of Skywalker title?
Yeah, so a lot of these theories you've probably heard kicked around since the teaser dropped. The one in particular, the last one, the Skywalker as an identifier, I'm not going to lie, our intern Ryan, literally that was the first thing he said in the panel. I know Kevin Smith has come out and kind of validated, and some other people, but I just want to give him credit. He didn't type it into the internet, so he's going to lose in the end. But I was there. I heard it. But we're going to save that one for last because I think that is probably the most likely. So, as Nick said, I kind of cooked up 4 theories that I think would be possible paths to justify the Rise of Skywalker title. And let's be honest, Nick, if you look at the Star Wars movies, the titles are pretty damn literal, right? The Last Jedi literally meant The Last Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
The Force Awakens literally meant The Force Awakened.
Yeah,
Revenge of the Sith. It goes on and on and on and on.
Exactly. So I will preface this by saying that I think it could be one or a combo of many of these.
All right.
So I'll just say that first.
First one I threw out there, and this is one Nick and I kind of riffed on during Celebration when we were breaking down the trailer, but maybe they just go back to saying, you know, Rey is a Skywalker. She's finally going to learn through her adventures here, through something, that she has the Skywalker bloodline in her. And I'm saying it's through the Solos. I put this pitch out there before. I mean, we were talking about this before The Last Jedi came out, but I could see where there was a point in time in Han and Leia's life where Leia would want to hide another pregnancy. It could, you know, Kylo's 10, 11. He's already fucked up. Snoke's in his head. Leia's given up, sending him to Uncle Luke. She's consumed with the Resistance. Han's bored being a house Han. He wants to go off and scoundrel and smuggle. So I could see Leia being like, you know what? We've already lost one powerful Force user, probably to the dark side. Last thing I need when my life's chaotic is another one that could be poisoned by Snoke or maybe Palpatine, who you never know. So she just fucking hid her away, just like Obi-Wan and Yoda did with the twins. Because back then, their biggest plan was like, for now, the best thing we can do with these little Force bomb babies is essentially delete them from the galaxy by hiding them. The one on a remote shithole, the other with a royal family on Alderaan, but it's the same concept: out of sight, out of mind. So, what do you think about that one, Nick?
So I think that in terms of it being the primary reason for the title, I don't think that is the case, but I do think that this is a strong possibility just for a through line in the story. We've already heard from JJ that Rey's parentage is not a closed book. You know, what we heard in The Last Jedi is going to be honored, but it's not set in stone that her real parents are nobodies.
And please, people, let's stop with the retcon shit.
Yeah, I mean, JJ
This isn't-
himself said like they're gonna honor.
When did Rian Johnson or anyone at Lucasfilm ever say that what happened in The Last Jedi in terms of that conversation was concrete fact?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it many times. We've talked about it at length that like
Right,
Kylo
so-
has no way of knowing who her parents really are. He was saying stuff in the moment to try to get her to switch sides.
It's like, people jumping on like, oh, see, JJ's retconning everything Ryan's doing. No, how can you say you're retconning stuff from a middle arc of a trilogy?
Yeah, so
None of those threads are finished yet. That's why it's a middle movie. So anyways, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I do like this because I do like this as a through line, but not as the primary reason for the title. It kind of, he's leading a little bit towards that her parentage means something. We saw in the trailer the shot of the ship that is almost 100% the ship that we saw in the Vision and TFA when it's flying off. So we know that there's still something going on around Rey and her origins, her family, whether it be a Solo or a Skywalker or a Kenobi or any of the other theories that were thrown out there way, way long ago when we were talking pre-TLJ. Her parentage is not set out yet, but if she does end up becoming a Solo, I don't think that it will be what the Rise of Skywalker means. So I like it as a plot. I don't like it as the reason for the title. But this is why I said in the beginning, I think that there could be multiple of these four at play here in this movie. So that's
All right,
that's kind of my
hey,
piece
fuck
on
you too, Nick. Fuck you too, buddy. You don't like my theories? Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, they are theories, and he's kind of right. I mean, I was just riffing on literally what could this mean. All right, the Rise of Skywalker, there you go. She rises, she's a Skywalker, she's awesome. Let's do it. So the next one, and this one I believe is the most far-fetched, and Luke literally rises from the dead. And as I said, the most unlikely in my opinion. We do know what the Jedi can do after they pass. I mean, they can become one with the Force, and hell, at this point, they can essentially take a corporeal form that isn't even see-through anymore. I mean, that's what we got with Yoda and TLJ. So I really don't think this is happening. I kind of hope it doesn't happen. I mean, zombie Luke, a little weird. If they're gonna go that way, save that for the Sith. Let's save that for the Sith way of not dying. Maybe they reanimate, or Nick and I are riffing on some threads going around about Palpatine. Maybe he's kind of like Voldemort, and he's somehow passing his essence through the dark side of the Force into other people or objects. Dude, zombie Luke, I mean, would you get behind that at all?
I mean, he did say at the end of the trailer, nobody's ever really gone.
True.
And we immediately associate that now with Palp because we hear the laugh. But we know how these trailers have thrown us off in the past. Like, we watched TLJ, we came up with a bunch of speculation. All of it got shot to hell. So, I mean, at this point, it's hard to try to pin down, exactly where things are going based off of the trailer. I do think that this is highly unlikely, though. It's possible that we get a corporeal form of Luke like we did with Grandmaster
but
Yoda.
that's not him rising from the
No.
dead. Like, we're not going to get a Jesus Christ moment with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I think that would be a super stretch by JJ and Chris Terrio and the guys over at Lucasfilm. Is it possible? I mean, anything's possible now. I feel like, with that line, nobody's ever really gone. That's basically saying anything is possible. We saw the Emperor, like you were just saying, Matt. We saw the fucking Emperor get thrown down a goddamn energy shaft on the Death Star, explode, and then all of a sudden, 40 plus years later, we all of a sudden hear him cackling when we think he's dead. So anything could happen.
He is Lord Palpamort.
He could be. He could come back on the back of somebody's head, just like in the first
yeah, man, all
Harry
those
Potter movie.
Force bunkers. He was dropping shit into Sith Horcruxes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. And then just the theory of essence transfer, like you're saying, transferring his essence, that was a thing in the old EU. Like, Darth Bane was learning how to do that. He was trying to figure out how to live forever, transfer his essence to these different bodies.
And I think Plagueis did figure that out.
Yeah, so I mean,
he taught Sheev, and then Sheev's like, all right, eat a dick.
Yeah, or Sheev could be fucking Plagueis. Who knows? Anyway.
See, okay. I don't want to go down this tangent because we both don't want to do a 2-hour cast, but
It's possible.
Whatever. I'm probably going to do a video on this, people, so stay tuned for it. But there's some very interesting theories going around on how Palpatine comes back, and one revolves around the fact that maybe Palpatine isn't Palpatine after all, and Plagueis actually dropped his essence in the Sheev way back when. I think that's way out of line. I just, there's no way they're going to be like, hey, yeah, Darth Plagueis literally all along has been the bad guy.
Yeah, that
no
would
way.
Just be that. It would be too much of a stretch to fit.
No way. He gets one line thrown out in Revenge of the Sith. Yes, he's been expanded upon in EUs and dead EUs and whatever, but just no way. Now, did Palpatine learn how to pass his essence from Homeboy, and maybe was he passing it in to Snoke, who might have been searching the Death Star wreckage, or is he passing it in the helmets, the Vader's helmet? Okay, I could possibly get behind that, because after all, the Jedi do fucking come back to life as ghosts that can interact with shit. I mean, Yoda literally shot lightning down on the Force tree.
Yep.
So again, I'm not getting scientific, but I highly doubt Disney and Lucasfilm going, yeah, let's just go ahead and in the end be like, aha, the whole 9 movies, it was Darth Plagueis and not these people you've watched for 40 years.
It was this character that 95% of people watching this movie have never heard of or don't remember. So,
right. So I'm not going to throw that theory out at all. I think it's a strong theory, this whole essence passing thing on the Sith side. I'm all about it. Like I said, if I got time tomorrow, I might shit out a video. But the whole DP inclusion, no dice, at least in my mind. But hey, you never know. We're just two assholes podcasting, so take it for what it is. This is what we do, right? We fucking give hot takes that suck and sound stupid sometimes. But
that's what we do.
All right, man. So moving on to the next one, I think we're both kind of anti-zombie Luke. I mean, we want to see the dude, and technically, I guess he would be somewhat of a zombie because he is dead but back. But either way, we're not getting technical here. Next one here. All right, so Kylo redeems himself and teams up with Rey. I mean, a lot of people, this dumbfounded me, Nick. Did it dumbfound you that a lot of people didn't understand that Kylo is a Skywalker?
Yeah, I didn't
Did
even
you
know
pick up on that? I mean, there's a lot of
No.
people I've been reading online like, what?
Really? I guess I don't go down comment threads
Leia,
and
Princess Leia, Skywalker, Han Solo. When people do it, they kind of pass genes. It's like a 50-50 deal.
Luke is his uncle. Luke is a Skywalker. His mother was a Skywalker. Like,
I'm
where
not
are we
kidding.
losing this shit?
I'm not kidding. I've literally seen threads, theories on big sites going, well, hey, could be Ben, and people are like, what do you mean? He's a Solo. And they're like, Leia.
Yeah.
Leia's his mom.
People
So anyways, I'll expand upon it here. So, Kylo is a Skywalker after all, and I've said it all along. Nick said it. He's going to get redeemed in this movie. He's either going to redeem himself and help the fight, or as I'm thinking, he's probably going to go away with Vader and redeem himself through a heroic act at the end to save the good guys. So, sticking with that, he's going to be redeemed, and Rey is going to be one of the main reasons for his redemption. I'm still thinking he's going to die, but these days probably not. I do think they're going to want to maybe use these characters down the road. Kathleen Kennedy is on the record saying, yes, there's potential for more Rey, Poe, Finn, maybe Kylo. So maybe he doesn't die. Either way, if we're going Jedi, he's probably dead. If we're going something new, he might live. Either way, in a similar move to what Vader did, he's going to come back to the good, which would in turn imply that his Skywalker is rising from within. And if Rey is his sister, the Skywalker brothers and sister, just like Luke and Leia, are going to rise and finally bring justice and balance to all things the galaxy. Because in the end, right, Nick, these are not traditional Sith or Jedi. Rey is not a Jedi. Rey is something new, a new type of Jedi, and that's going to maybe lead into our last one here. So she is not completely anti-dark side like the Jedi were. Jedi are, dark side bad, you'll die.
Yeah.
She's learned through her time with Luke that there's a balance. You need them both. You can't just shut one side out or just fully embrace the other. You got to kind of take the good with the bad, but also realize that the bad can get really fucked up. And I think she knows that. Kylo clearly does not. So
yeah.
What do you think about Kylo here and him kind of bleeding in and promoting that title?
So I think that the redemption arc is definitely going to happen, like you said, and I think that in my mind, the title could definitely be a combination of Rey being a Skywalker solo and then Kylo's redemption. So like in my mind right now, prior to the last moment of TLJ, the Skywalker name had kind of gone fallow. Like people knew him, people knew the Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, hero of the rebellion, savior of the galaxy, destroyer of the empire, but like time had passed, and a lot of people had known about his failure at his academy and the rise of his his nephew to the dark side. So the Skywalker name itself is pretty trampled, especially considering Darth Vader is the first Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker is the one who brought the galaxy to its knees initially, or helped to do it.
So clearly they don't study history in this galaxy, because no one still knows that Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader were the same fucking guy.
True.
At least not Ben Solo.
Good call. But so my mind, if it was going to be something to do with Kylo, it would have to be in concert with Rey, and then it would be like a redeeming of the Skywalker name in a way. Like Luke did that on his own at the end of TLJ, yes, with his heroic sacrifice.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, that the whole end scene was to show us what Luke's act did for the good guys. It gave them hope again. It reignited the Luke legend. I mean, the kids were playing like, look, this motherfucker Luke, he stood there and there's all these big ass AT-MTs.
Yeah.
And they were blasting him. He took them all down. He took down the Supreme Leader. He's fucking Luke.
Yeah.
Then he grabs a broom, pretend it's a lightsaber. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely reignited that fire, as, he and Poe talked about. But he also raised the legend of Luke Skywalker back to prominence.
Yeah, and I think if anything, if it's gonna be anything related to Kylo, I think it's gonna be, like I said, in tandem, and then basically making like the Skywalker name more than just Luke, because that's all it is right now. Is it's Luke Skywalker. It's not the Skywalkers. It's
right.
Luke
So
Skywalker.
let's go into the last theory here, and this is the one that I at first was poo-pooing, because when Ryan the intern described it to me, he used the Thrawn novels to do so, and that's why it just instantly kind of closed off, because I'm always like, no, they're not bringing books in the movies. But his intention was spot on. So here's what it is, and Nick was pretty much getting there. The Skywalker name becomes an identifier for Force users, almost a religion itself. It becomes the new Jedi. Just like how we said there were Jedi, they're now going to say there are Skywalkers, and not just family. They are fucking Skywalkers. They are Force Mac Daddies, Mac Sisters, Mac Mommies, whatever you want to call them. So the Skywalker name itself becomes an identifier, very much like how Kylo adopted the name Kylo Ren from the Knights of Ren, which is a group of people that appreciate and embrace the dark side. So now we would have the, Knights of Skywalker, just to kind of really make it plain and simple for some of you people that may not understand what the fuck we're talking about. I really think this is where we're going. Kevin Smith ran with this one, started crying about it. He's like, think how beautiful this is, man. This kid that left the farm as a boy has done so much in the galaxy that they're literally going to name a religion after him in the end. And it is kind of a beautiful thing to think about. And really, I think that's where Nick was going, as saying, they're Kylo, Rey, they rise up, and the legend of the Skywalkers becomes greater than just Luke. It's now a religion, a group, an identifier for people that do awesome shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility here, because like you said, the Jedi, the traditional Jedi as we know them now, they're kind of gone. Like, at the end of TLJ, Luke said, "I am not the last Jedi." But I think that,
but the whole movie, he wanted the Jedi way of old to die, and even Yoda said, the way we did it sucked. Clearly, we fucking lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, I think you're more spot on about it being like the Knights of Skywalker, or like a faction within the light or something like that. in terms of Skywalker replacing Jedi, I think that would be a little weird. But then again, like I'm not 100% against that either. It's like, to me, this one's very interesting to see how they go about it, because I do think that it could be a beautiful arc for the Skywalkers in general to find out. Like, we now know that the first Skywalker was created through dark side force manipulation by Palpatine. Like, that is in canon. That's in a comic book. Shitty place to drop it. If you've never listened to our podcast before, we talked about it when it first happened. But yes, that is true factual canon. Anakin Skywalker's father is Palpatine, and he was created through dark side force manipulation. It would be a fantastic arc, like Kevin said in his video, to have the Skywalker name start there, but then end like this, to end as a beacon of hope and prosperity within the galaxy for all Force users. So I definitely like it as that kind of identifier. I just did, like, I guess in my head it'd just be like, you know, Skywalker Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi instead of Jedi Knight. It's just like a weird identifier. But I do like you said, Knights of Skywalker sounds really cool. Stuff like that, I think fits along with the entirety of this arc.
I'm a Skywalker, like my father before me.
Anybody could say that now.
It's fucking awesome. I mean, and that's exactly what Ryan was getting at when I was making fun of him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's what the Chiss essentially call their force sensitives. They're what are they? They're not telepaths.
They were essentially like they were pilots. They could like pilot through the they could pilot through hyperspace using the force. Like they call them Skywalkers.
Either way, they call them Skywalkers.
Yeah.
So again, just an identifier for a group of special people with skills in the Force, and I'm all about it. I mean, you want to drop Jedi, have at it.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
Make the Last Jedi haters probably feel good because the name just goes away.
Yeah, I think
it's Skywalker.
I think it's cool. I think it's a good theory, and like I said, I don't think that any one of these in particular is going to be the reason behind the title. I think it could be a combo, or I think it could obviously be something that we haven't even thought of yet. Like, you know, there's.
Well, we got some time. I mean, what the fuck else could it be? Honestly.
Yeah, I mean the Rise. I mean, Rise of Skywalker, the only other thing that I could think of is, like, you know, there being another child. Like, there being a Skywalker kid out there or something like that. Or, I mean, it's been thrown around, this idea that Rey is a clone, which I hate. I hate that theory to God's end. Like, I think it's terrible. But, like, essentially what the theory is that Palpatine, one, is still alive, at least enough to continue to experiment with force manipulation of pregnancies to keep trying to create the Darth Vader that he hoped he got. And Rey was one of them. And maybe there were other failed experiments out there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we shared that one, but I definitely read this, what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, so there's just other, you know, force babies out there that he created that didn't come to fruition. And then, you know, we meet these new characters. Maybe Jan.
See, where that theory kind of lost some of its wind for me is when he's like, "Oh yeah, well then they realized that they didn't like her, so they just dropped her on Jakku."
No, yeah, I was like, no, he would kill the baby.
He would fucking kill him.
Yeah, so I don't think it's got legs. I think that, like, again, I don't want to see anything with fucking clones in this movie. Like, if it turns out that Rey's a clone, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Just because the clones have been beaten to death in Star Wars, old EU.
If they made Rey a clone, it would destroy the character.
Yeah, like,
I mean, some people are already on edge with her. They think she's a Mary Sue. She's OP. You make her a clone, it would ruin her.
Yeah, I think that there is a uniqueness to Rey that we haven't understood.
Leave the clones to Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
right. Leave the clones to the Clone Wars. Let's keep them back in that era.
Yeah. So
now, if we want to talk like fucking Harry Potter shit happening with Palpatine, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I could
cloning Rey or Rey clones or little baby Force clones. No.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know where else we could go from here.
That's what I mean. I know you're like, well, it might not be any of these, and hey, you could be 100% right, but my little brain cannot think of any other possibility that's going to fit the mantra of a Star Wars title, because as we opened, Star Wars movie titles mean something for the movie.
Dude, okay, so how about this? How many dead Skywalkers do we have? We have 3, right? 3 dead Skywalkers. You have Anakin, Luke, and then Leia, we assume, is going to die in this movie. Shmi, true, 4.
And then whoever Shmi's dad was.
Oh, yeah,
Their dad before that. I mean, if you really want to get nuts, dude, because that's what fanboys do. I mean, Anakin's not the first Skywalker either.
Yeah, I mean, first Force-sensitive Skywalker, I guess, would be the way to say it. So what happens
as what we know, there's only 2, or at least at this point in time going into 9, 2 dead powerful Skywalkers, and that is Anakin and Luke.
What happens, this may have nothing to do with the title, but what happens, we do get Force Ghost Palp, okay? You can't, I mean, like, it requires a very strong and crazy ritual to banish a dark side Force Ghost from his temple. So what happens if we get like a Force Ghost battle with like Anakin, Luke, and Leia against Palp?
I was going to say, I think you might have touched on one that we probably could have put in here, and that, what if Anakin somehow comes back and gets involved?
Yeah, I mean, Anakin Skywalker is the most ignored Skywalker in this whole new trilogy. I mean, I know that we've had a lot of talk about Darth Vader, but like he's the primary thread here. Like the fact that we have
Kylo. I mean, Kylo literally skull fucks his helmet. He loves him so much.
But also with Palp, like with Palpatine coming back, Anakin Skywalker has to come back in some form or fashion. Like I feel like that is a necessity, and like
I think you're right.
So to have Palpatine there without either Vader or Anakin would just feel weird. Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, as people have said, JJ and all of them. I mean, this again is closing out a 9-act arc.
Yeah.
That's got to wrap that story, which is again, people, the story of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, so, I mean, we still have to see. I mean, and look, you know, Hayden was at Celebration. He was at Celebration 2017 as well.
And there was rumors he was going to be in TFA. I mean, there's concept art of a Vader, of an Anakin half Vader ghost. I mean, he's literally half mechanical, half Anakin.
So I think that, like, it could also, like, the Rise of Skywalker could mean, like, you know, these powerful Force ghosts, you know, it could play into it. You have this essentially banishing of Palpatine's spirit, his soul, his essence by the Skywalker.
Okay, he did it, people. At first, I was like, you know, he's there. Hey, man, these probably aren't it. I don't know. You know, I put him on the spot, and look at this motherfucker.
And it could be.
He did it.
Could be interesting.
He did it. You nailed it. I mean, I can't even believe I wasn't thinking about Sandhater.
Sandhater, yeah. But
you're right. I mean, you're dead on. I mean, at this point, Anakin does have to be, even if it's just a mention of Anakin.
Yeah, I mean, we got
has to be in the Rise of Skywalker. I think you're dead on again. Is the rising of the Skywalker Force Ghost going to be the reason for the title? No, I really ultimately think the whole identifier thing is what that title is literally telling us, like the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
the Skywalker way of being awesome. But Nick's right. I mean, especially with the stuff you've heard from JJ over these past 2 weeks. You know, he met with George. You know, George has always had an idea. And George is on record. I mean, if you're a fan, you know this. The first 6 movies are Anakin's story.
Yeah. It's the tragedy
of
Anakin
They are all about
Skywalker.
Anakin Skywalker. I know we follow the heroes more closely in the original trilogy, but George has always said that these movies were about Anakin.
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't even had a mention of him. Like, we had a mention of Darth Sidious in Episode 8, and we haven't had a mention of the primary antagonist
you're right.
and
I mean,
protagonist.
They even used some prequel shit there. I mean, he didn't even call him fucking Palpatine. He went right for a Sith name, which was created in the prequels. So I mean, if you're gonna do that, you got to give Anakin a mention.
And like you said, you know, JJ keeps saying, like, this is a 9 arc. We're wrapping up 9 films, not just 1. Like, Anakin's got to be there, and if he's not there, like, I mean, I could deal with it if he's not there, because I think there's a story to tell without bringing him into it.
Of course.
But, like, I just feel like it would be remiss to close out the Skywalker saga without having even a mention.
You're 100%
of
right.
it. So
100% right.
And then like
100% right.
however they do it, I don't care. I mean, like if they do it with Hayden, I think that's the only right way to do it now. You know, we don't have.
Oh, please do it with him, but cut his fucking hair.
Yeah, I mean, he
Like
looked like
that
he had
long
short
Jedi hair bullshit. I don't really get where that came from back in the 90s and 2000s.
I mean,
you had Obi-Wan with that god-awful mullet in Attack of the Clones.
That was terrible.
And then Anakin with that horrible long hair in Revenge. It's like, oh.
Yeah. I just, I do think that there is still, I mean, there's not anything to wrap up in terms of Anakin's story, but the way that that Kylo has been played throughout this entire trilogy requires action by Anakin.
And I've said it before, and I think you've agreed. It's like, what the fuck is Anakin doing?
Yeah.
Just letting this bozo jerk off all over his helmet and worshiping his evil side.
I mean, maybe he pulled a Luke, except within the Force realm. Like he's just like, I'm unplugging. Like I can't.
Or we could learn maybe fucking Palpatine got to him and
has bound his spirit or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly Kylo's trying to talk to Vader. Vader's not replying. We don't think. I mean, the only time we saw him talk was in TFA.
Yeah.
And it did feel like Kylo did that a lot, and apparently we're going to see it again in 9. You just wonder, like, we know Anakin can become a Force ghost. I mean, that's established.
Yeah, we've seen it.
So where the fuck's this guy been? It's like I've always been saying, why didn't someone sit and bend down and be like, dude, Darth Vader was bad. Like, not good.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker, not good. But he figured it out and ultimately chose to be good. So what's your deal worshiping his evil half?
Yeah. But I don't know whether it be, clearly Luke took a wrong path in his training and it led to his downfall and turned to Kylo and stuff like that. But now, I mean, if there is any immediacy for Anakin to do anything, it's the return of Palpatine. And it could be the further endangering of his grandson. Like, if Kylo gets seduced by Palp, that will draw out Anakin's spirit almost immediately. Like, he would basically be like, I was seduced by this man once before. I cannot let this happen to my family
Dude,
again.
you're giving me, like, all sorts of shit to think about now. Like, I'm thinking about fucking Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor style Force Ghost, fucking Luke Force Ghost, old Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Anakin Force Ghost, Yoda Force Ghost. Like, they're just coming out and beating the shit out of Force Ghost Palpatine.
That would be dope as fuck. That's what I was saying. Like, that, when you have a Force Ghost, like, there's no way for a human person to combat it. Like, you have to go through basically a ritualistic exorcism. And I think that would
like Rey and Kylo battling in physical form or battling something in physical form. Oh my God, December, please, where are you?
So, I mean, shit, I might. I don't know if I could put that out as a rumor, but like that seems.
I mean, honestly, dude,
cool.
I think you should riff on your Anakin take and run with it if you got the time. So
yeah.
I think there could be a good read in there. I mean, it's definitely something that, I was sitting there at our 4 theories like, I've got them locked and loaded, no other possibility, and then you just threw one right in my face that I think might not play into the title, as we said for the 4 theories we talked about, but definitely I do think you're on to something with Anakin somehow getting mixed up with the events of Star Wars Episode 9, so... Good call by you, and you never know. Nick may expand upon it in written form on StarWarsTime.net. So that's why you need to keep that thing bookmarked on your phone. Hell, if you got an iPhone or an Android, why don't you just go ahead and save it to your home screen as an app icon? You can do it. And you see our little pretty faces there. You click on it. You can check out the site and do all the fun stuff. All right, buddy, good times. I mean, we went through our 4 theories, and then you gave us a bonus one, a blue light special, and it was one that I do like. And I do want some Hayden in this movie now. Hopefully he's not talking about sand and all that dumb shit and being mopey Attack of the Clones. We're really just mopey live action Anakin. Let's hopefully he's channeled a little animated Anakin. He has a great moment. I think that'd be fantastic because I think it'd be great for Hayden. It'd be great for the character. And honestly, I need live action Anakin to have a little bit of redemption. Yeah. I do. I really do. Because those prequels, I know I've tried to scale back my rants on them, and sometimes I did it just it's like a character thing, a little over the top. But those movies did disappoint me, and they did affect how I look at Darth Vader in 4, 5, and 6. So I could use a little badass Anakin or something to kind of redeem some of the shit that went down in 1, 2, and 3 for the character. All right, buddy. It's time to put this thing to bed. So those of you listening, like I said, if you missed the opening here, shame on you. You should just rewind it. I mean, it's not like you're paying for this shit, right? It's free. It's crap anyways. It doesn't matter if you missed it, whatever. But we kind of put out a call there. We want to start doing some special topic casts that involve you, the fans, you, the Star Wars artists out there, the toy photographers. So if that's something that sounds like you may be interested in, you're comfortable on a mic talking, shooting shit, hit us up. DMs on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or just hit us up through StarWarsTime.net. We have a contact page and all that fun stuff. All right, people. Until Friday, we'll be locking and loading some stories to talk about. And, of course, we're going to have our fandom segment where we talk about all things Star Wars fans. Until then, may the Force be with you, always.